Libya contact group creates fund for rebels. The International Contact Group on Libya has agreed to create a temporary fund to assist rebel groups during talks in Rome. French Foreign Minister Alain Juppé said the fund should be operational within weeks. The group of NATO countries, Arab states and other nations are discussing ways to increase pressure on Colonel Muammar Gaddafi. Meanwhile, a ship has evacuated people from the besieged port of Misrata. Speaking in Rome, Italian Foreign Minister Franco Frattini said the creation of a new financial mechanism would permit funds to be channeled effectively and transparently to the rebels. He said further details would be announced at the meeting later on Thursday. The move followed an urgent request from the rebels based in the eastern city of Benghazi. The rebels' Transnational National Council says it needs $2 billion to $3 billion in the coming months for military salaries, food, medicine, and other basic supplies. British Foreign Secretary William Hague insisted that any financial assistance to the rebels would not be spent on weapons. This money will help them to keep basic services going, because in the east of Libya, they still need to be educating people to keep public services moving, and they have to meet the expenses of all that, and they don't have much tax revenue at the moment, he said. Mr. Hague said efforts would also be made to explore how Colonel Gaddafi's government could be prevented from exporting oil or importing refined products. Meanwhile, U.S. Secretary of State Hillary Clinton said the U.S. was trying to free more than $30 billion it had frozen in Libyan assets. Syria raid in Damascus suburb as crackdown denied. Hundreds of Syrian troops stormed the Damascus suburb of Sakoba overnight, breaking into houses and arresting about 300 people, witnesses say. Tanks and troops are also reported to have been sent to other troubled spots amid fresh reports of anti-government demonstration in Homs and Hama. The moves come despite appeals from the UN and US for President Bashar al-Assad to end the violence against protesters. Activists, meanwhile, have vowed to stage a day of defense on Friday. More than 500 Syrians are thought to have been killed since the protests started 7 weeks ago. At least 2,500 others have been detained, although rights groups say the figure could be much higher. Foreign journalists are not allowed to enter the country, so it's difficult to verify the reports. The protests, which began on 15th March, posed the most serious challenge to 4 decades of rule by the Assad family in one of the Arab world's most repressive countries. 8 arrested in UP for stoning couple to death. Police in Uttar Pradesh say they have arrested 8 people for stoning to death a young couple who had a love affair which met with their disapproval. The accused include the parents of the murdered woman who died alongside her lover. He came from a lower social group in Uttar Pradesh state. There have been many cases in India where people have been killed for defying tradition and family honor. Often these crimes are endorsed or even encouraged by village elders. In the latest instance, police believe that Rajiv Verma and his girlfriend Ranu Pal were stoned to death by a mob of about 200 people, including many of the girls' relatives. The officer in charge of the investigation told the reporters that Ranu's mother was suspected as playing a leading role in the killings. The couple were murdered apparently because the mom's shame that Ranu, a student, should fall in love with her own teacher who came from a lower social group or caste. The police said that community leaders had warned the couple to break off their relationship, but 3 days before their death, they ran off together. Last month, India's Supreme Court warned senior officials that they could be prosecuted if they failed to prevent such killings from taking place. It said that in some cases, village councils had encouraged or even ordered the deaths. Dorjee Khandu body recovered from helicopter crash site. The body of the Chief Minister of India's Arunachal Pradesh state has been recovered from the wreckage of a helicopter, officials say. The helicopter carrying Dorjee Khandu and 4 others went missing on Saturday as it was flying to Tawang from the state capital Itanagar. The wreckage was spotted by search teams on Wednesday after a massive 5-day-long search. He is one of several Indian politicians to die in helicopter crashes. Delhi Commonwealth Games chief Suresh Kalmadi remanded. The chief organizer of the 2010 Commonwealth Games in Delhi has been remanded in jail for 14 days on charges of corruption. Suresh Kalmadi was arrested last month and removed from his post in January. Police say he will be charged with conspiracy regarding the awarding of commercial contracts for the Games. He denies any wrongdoing. The build-up to the Games, held in the capital in October, was marred by allegations of sleaze and incompetence. On Wednesday, a special court in the capital, Delhi, remanded Mr. Kalmadi and 2 other officials of the Games organizing committee. We'll move on to the business world. General Motors profit surges as sales rise. U.S. car maker General Motors has
just as heartening as that is, that the commentary about what they see for the rest of the year, both in North America and in Europe, is fairly upbeat. So it's a solid quarter all around, and it looks like their confidence in the year is still pretty solid as well.
So does that suggest to you that what's happening, that GM has either backed off on the incentives or it is selling enough cars that the volume is countering the effect of the discounts?
Yeah, definitely the latter. The volume effect on companies like this with a very high fixed cost is profound. And it turns out that GM did do the right thing, putting some discounting in place early in the year to reap the benefits of that as the volumes picked up seasonally. And we saw that with the car sales numbers
above $33 and stay there heading higher.
You know, it's more of a macro question, and it is really related to oil prices. Investors are very concerned that the spike we've seen in oil prices, and keep in mind that when GM went public, oil was $80 a barrel, and now we're closer to 100 and 110. So there's a concern that higher oil prices will take demand away from the auto industry, which hasn't happened thus far. But what has happened is it has encouraged buyers to buy lower margin, smaller vehicles than the old SUVs and large pickup trucks of, say, 10 or 15 years ago. And I think oil prices are going to have to moderate in order for GM investors to feel a lot of...
Welcome to the world of science. US and Europe plan new spaceship. Europe and the US could be building a spaceship together later this decade. It's one of the ideas being considered as Europe ponders the next evolution of its ATV orbital freighter. The sophisticated robotic vessel is used to transport up to 7.5 tons of supplies to the space station, but only 3 more units are in production. Europe is now looking to develop a derivative of the ship, and a joint venture with the Americans on a future vessel is being discussed. The European Space Agency's Director General Jean-Jacques Dorjee said the new concept must leverage the capabilities of the existing vehicle, such as its automatic rendezvous and docking technology, but that its precise role was up for debate. And in sports, Allyson Felix heads Diamond League opener in Doha. 3-time World 200-meter champion Allyson Felix will get her outdoor season underway in the opening Diamond League meeting of the season on Friday. The American had been due to come up against Nicole Sanders in the 400 meter, but the Briton is now not involved. Others in action in Doha include 200 meter runner Walter Dix, triple jumper Teddy Tamango, and 100 meter hurler Lola Jones. British athletes competing are Michael Rimmer in the 800 meter, high jumper Tom Parsons, and 400 meter hurler Richard Yates. But 800 meter world record holder David Rudisha pulled out earlier this week because of a foot injury, while sprint star Usain Bolt will not make his seasonal debut until Diamond League meeting in Rome on 26 May. And now, before we close today's bulletin of news analysis, let's have a recap of the main points. Topmost Alquaeda leader Bin Laden got killed in a firefight. Barack Obama to visit Ground Zero. Libya contact group creates fund for rebels. Syria raid in Damascus suburb as crackdown defied. 8 arrested in UP for stoning couple to death. Dorjee Khandu body recovered from helicopter crash site. And there we end today's bulletin of news analysis. Be with us in the coming weeks too. Thank you.